Hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of our message series, Persevere. I'm Allie.
And I'm Daniel, and together we work in student ministry here at Nativity.
Daniel and I have been working together closely for over 3 years now, and when you work with someone that closely in a workplace like we do, you really get to know the other person.
Yeah, Allie and I are co-workers, but we really trust and lean on each other. We know our strengths and weaknesses, and we can laugh at our mistakes and commiserate together. And we can also challenge each other to improve in areas where we know we can grow.
Yeah, we've cried, we've screamed, we've been angry, we've prayed, we've been dismayed, and we've laughed, and you can't replace the kind of time it takes to build that relational capital with someone.
We're part of each other's support circle. Neither of us has family that lives in Maryland, and so other than maybe a few friends or a significant other, we spend probably more time together than with anybody else in our lives. And this year, we really needed that. We needed that support to be able to rethink how we were doing our ministry during the times of COVID. And to do all of that work together, it took a lot of time and effort and tears and laughter to completely pivot and reinvent student ministry. But we made it through together, and we needed one another to persevere.
Yeah, absolutely, because we believe in that power of the consistency, the growing relationship, the trust, and the vulnerability that happens within a community. It's what you all are doing in your small groups each week, and it's Daniel and I's goal to create that same kind of experience and growth for our students in our programs. You probably felt the power of community more so in this crazy and very different year than you have ever before. You needed that inner circle to encourage you and help you throughout this time. We believe in the power of that, and Jesus believes in that too.
That's right. Jesus, he had his 12 disciples, and he spent about the same amount of time with them. We realized this year that Allie and I have spent working together about 3.5 years. And Jesus had that small group with his disciples, but within that small group, he also had his inner circle of Peter, James, and John. And it was that inner circle that he took with him when he was transfigured. And that was our reading at Mass this week.
And Jesus isn't normally a showman. He heals people, he performs miracles, but he doesn't do it in a flashy way. But the transfiguration was Jesus' opportunity to be flashy. We tried to look up a synonym for transfiguration, and basically all that comes up is that it means to be changed somehow. Jesus was changed during the transfiguration, but that really isn't enough. It's more like he turned to Peter, James, and John and smirked at him and said, "Watch this." Here's what it says. He was transfigured before them, and his clothes turned dazzling white, such as no fuller on earth could bleach them. Then Elijah appeared to them along with Moses, and they were conversing with Jesus.
So it was spectacular. It even says it was dazzling. These figures from the Old Testament show up. You got the Son of God. It's a great story, right? It's probably one that you've heard before. But really, what does this have to do with grit, with perseverance? Well, as we continue the story, you'll see. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, "Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He hardly knew what to say. They were so terrified. Then a cloud came, casting a shadow over them. From the cloud came a voice, "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Suddenly, looking around, they no longer saw anyone but Jesus alone with them. As they were coming down from the mountain, he charged them not to relate what they had seen to anyone, except when the Son of Man had risen from the dead. So they kept the matter to themselves, questioning what rising from the dead meant. So all this happens very quickly, but here's the gist. Peter, as usual, speaks for the group, but he's lost for words, which is pretty rare for him. God the Father speaks, and as usual, he is pointing us toward his Son. And then Jesus speaks, but rather unusually, he asks for confidentiality. He wants them to keep this a secret. And everyone keeps the matter to themselves and ponders it. There's power in trusting people. Jesus trusted his inner circle. He trusted that they would keep his secret until the time was right.
And that's what happens in small groups. We trust each other. We share things that happen in our lives, and we don't always know exactly what to say. We don't have the words, much like Peter did, but also like him, we figure it out. because we know it's not about having the perfect response, but it's more about being there. Because when we're there, when we're emotionally present and invested in our small group, God often speaks to us. Like the disciples at the Transfiguration, our Father points us toward his Son. In small group, our focus is narrowed so that we can more easily do what God tells us to do in the Transfiguration. Listen to him. And finally, we know that what's said in small group stays in small group. We can trust each other. Even after our time together ends, we continue to pray about and ponder what we shared there. This whole process, as simple as it is, it develops our grit and prepares us for life. Small groups help us be more resilient and gritty in a number of ways. They help make the tough moments more bearable. They help us see the bigger picture. They can remind us that we're not alone. They redirect our attention to Jesus, and they help us sort through what we're experiencing.
When I was in Idaho still, I was in a small group with a number of young adults. We went on a retreat together, and then our small group formed from there. And in the year that followed that retreat, here's what happened to each of the members of the small group. 2 people changed jobs, and actually it was a big career change for both of them. One person left his job and everything else that he was doing to go to seminary. One of us actually moved to California to follow a girl there, and when that didn't go very well, he moved back, and soon after that, he met his future wife. Another one of us got engaged and then had to break it off in a very messy way, and soon after that, she met her future husband. And me, I was going through this period of agonizing over a big decision. I went back and forth over whether I should move across the country to work at a church in Baltimore. And as you probably can guess, I decided to take that leap. Now, when we started our process together as a small group, we didn't know that we were going to need that, but we did. And so we were able to process through those changes together. We were able to have some of the heartache that goes with those changes. And we were also able to see the joy that comes through on the other side. We needed that time together each week to recenter ourselves, to focus on what we were doing. It was a stronghold for us. We brought those experiences to prayer, and we grew together as a group. We didn't all know at the beginning that we would be making such big changes in our lives, but we were sure glad for our community when we did.
And that's the thing about community. You don't always realize it's there or truly appreciate it until you really need it. The best way to prepare for those moments when you need to persevere is to already have a community in place that you can lean on when those moments come, because they're going to come. Developing grit in small groups, it isn't spectacular. It's not going to be like the Transfiguration every week. It's simple. It's just a group of people willing to put their heart into it and persevere together. The consistency in the investment is what makes all the difference. So here's the bottom line for today. We develop grit and perseverance together. We do it with coworkers when we battle through things and work closely together to grow something. We do it with families when we're committed to each other and we sacrifice and communicate. And we do it personally when we have a small group of people who are on our team and in our corner. But like any good team, your heart has to be in it. And that means showing up, listening well, sharing openly, being vulnerable at times, and having a high level of accountability. Your heart has to be in it, because where your heart is, there your treasure is also.
So you've already taken that step to have a small group. This is your team. These are your people. And we're going to give you a chance today in your conversation to really reflect on how your group is going. What do you do each week when you gather? How can you make it better? How can you make those conversations a little bit more meaningful, to really be able to check in with each other and know what's going on in one another's lives, and to be able to pray with and for each other? This might also be a really good opportunity in your life to invite someone to be part of your group or another small group, because everyone can benefit from having that support around them. So think about who might be someone that you could invite. And as you have that conversation today, just think about, if you've been together for a while, this is a great chance for you to refresh and think about how to make your group even better going forward. And if you're a relatively new group, it's a chance to set those expectations so that your group is set up for success. Either way, this is your team. These are the people in your corner. And if your heart is in it, God will help you through this group to develop the grit that you need to get through anything that you'll face. Because God did not create man to be alone. We were created to be in community.